Welcome to the Daily Sister Wives. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. If you're passionate about the raw, real-life drama of sister wives, you're in the right place. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a daily dose of insight, updates, and exclusive commentary. Now, let's get into today's powerful episode. Kody Brown, the patriarch of sister wives, has never felt love until he married Robyn Brown, his fourth wife. On the May 25th Sister Wives One-on-One special, he reportedly told host Sakana Krishnan that he wanted to raise every wife up to that level and share the same experience with them. Janelle Brown, his ex-wife, replied, "It would have been nice if he had communicated that." However, she also thinks that Kody is making revisionist history. He never discussed that with. Meri Brown felt more strongly than Janelle, who dismissed Kody's absurd assertion with a simple laugh. Meri informed Suki, "I don't think that's fair for him to even say, 'Are all of you expected to be Robyn?' I'm Meri and I apologize. I will not be like Robyn." Does Meri Brown from Sister Wives resemble Robyn Brown? Meri continued by saying that she believes Kody's comparison of his spouses in this manner is unfair. She went on, "I'm going to be my own unique person. I'd rather not be her." Furthermore, she added, "It's fantastic if they get along well." That's a terribly unfair remark in my opinion. Sana then pondered, is it possible for polygamy to be equal but distinct? That, in my opinion, is the issue. Women differ from one another. Relationship chemistry can vary from one moment to next. All of a sudden, Kody had a woman with whom he had never had such a great chemistry. It caught him off guard, but he was unable to make his third wives feel the same way. He didn't seem to want to either. Meri feels that Kody never truly embraced her for who she is, which is why she eventually left them in 2022. He completely disregarded her for the last 12 or 14 years, or maybe even more of their 35-year relationship. Sister Wives has concluded an author season. The final episodes off season 19, which focused on Garrison Brown's passing, have moved many to tears. At last, though, spectators could watch programs live. Kody Brown typically schemes the surface and must respond to the difficult issues. Therefore, the tell-alls are constantly criticized. However, the host persuaded family to spill some tea in the first section, which was quitter first. Shane was quitter, and leaves a rich, long-lasting color. We was quitter flows, Deliah's are, and we was quitter, sin and see. My real wall, Deliah's cals. You was concise to the cases, with sin walls. We is quitter my live, toes my light and our sepre. I be sib. We is a grad, we all like, it's sit, it's ka, I sit, I cuck, sits, it's a seek, we sit to me slits, sikata, I supputes it, it's it, chemist, late up, Kody Brown says the Sister Wives Season 19 tell-all has slapped him. I can't help but enjoy it when Kody gets all giddy and starts giving lengthy monologues. The first reveal was no exception, as Kody Mediveri's effort to win over Sister Wives fans. Kody wasn't happy that Suki the presenter was allowed a little more freedom to press for clarification. Fans also admired her ability to win over the polygamous father. When the host first questioned Kody about his capacity to refer one particular wife, pointing out though he was supposed to love everybody equally, Kody responded angrily as usual. Infuriated, Kody said to the host, "Try that. Every one of your children has a different bond with you. Every friend you have has a different relations with you. Some people have a various hobbies, different types of fulfillment, and so forth. Then everyone simply beats you down for finding higher love. The dramatics were excessive. I'll tell you what, he continued, my relationship with Robyn has a heavenly element, and we have been slapped for it. I want to make peace in this relationship, and I love this woman. But I'm so weary of being blamed for liking Robyn that I'm going around stealing things. During the first part of the Sister Wives Tale for Season 19, Meri Brown makes fun of Kody Brown's divine love. Fortunately, Meri Brown and Janelle Brown were not falling for Kody's interpretation of divine love. In fact, the ex-sister wives even made fun of the 18-year-old father. Janelle sneered. It would have been nice if he communicated back then. Suki reminded the women that Kody had once stated that he wanted to raise every wife up to that level of love that he had with Robyn. Perhaps that is also revisionist history. In retrospect, he says, well, I tried. He wanted to, but they simply refused to accompany me. After saying that she had never had her ex-husband attempt to raise her up, Janelle informed cameras that he never talked about that with her. Meri echoed the feelings. I don't think that's fair for him to even say the single mother. Told the program Sensivrion is expected to be Robyn. I'm Meri and I apologize. I will not be like Robyn. Robyn is not someone I want, Tobe. I will be my own unique individual. The presenter questioned whether Kody have ever loved her as much as Headed. I don't want to be her. Only if he accepts Meri, and he didn't accept. Meri wrote, for the last 12 or 14 years, or possibly more, he didn't. Kody Brown embarrasses Christine Brown, identifying the embarrassing things that Kody has done to his four wives is certainly difficult. This time, however, Christine Brown acknowledged that she felt ashamed of what she had done when she was married to Kody. The mother of six expressed her displeasure at having previously prioritized Kody over her own needs during the Sister Wives reveal. It's such a strange and embarrassing thing to admit, she disclosed. However, Kody's needs and desires, as well as those of the family, consumed my life. It's likely that I obsessively watch it, that man. After a brief period off sitting in the ick, Christine continued. Doe explained, because he didn't just panto my life. She said, so, like even when he wasn't there, I'd be thinking when where he gets here, we're going to do this, and this. He did not just follow our instructions to make room for him. We had to alter our course. That is unacceptable. It's unfair. Fans are now adjured to see what Part 2 of the tale will offer. For Christine, fellow Festile became frustrating to her. That's making it so our lives are forced on him. Everything changed when the man who used to identify as the head of their family brought a new woman into family. His eyes glistened like never before. In her presence, his voice grew softer. He started staring at Harris, though she were the focal point of a brand new universe. Although he had previously joined a union, this was the first time he pretended to have discovered a genuine companion. And that change was unpleasant and perplexing Tomini, who had supported him for a long time. One woman who had been there from the start was among those left in the emotional shadows. She had talked about her childhood, her aspirations, and her desire for something holy, something thought would last. She didn't have a common name. She couldn't change who she was. Nevertheless, she was supposed to fit into the mold that someone else had made of her in the eyes of the guy who had once promised balance. The man admitted to a host while seated in the spotlight on a recent evening full of awkward disclosures that falling in love with his newest companion drastically changed him. There was a connection he'd never experienced before. He acknowledged that he wished he could have the same connection with every other lady who lived in his house and in his heart. Since it was so strong and doubt-consuming, he claimed that he wished to give them the same amount of love that he experienced with her. However, those remarks did not come across as a friendly gesture. When she heard his words, a lady who had formerly stood firmly by his side reared children under The same roof and carry a dune knacknold hardships, laughy briefly. She was led to such reaction by disbelief rather than excitement. Ha never once said such things in the private nooks of their shared life. But shook her head slowly, and Muttered thought it could be convenient for him to say them now. It sounded too. Her like a writing history using lovely language Ato erased decades of quiet. Second voice, calmer and more powerful, caminto the room. This woman had remained bound to the possibility of reunification, despite years of seclusion. However, her eyes now conveyed a new message, one of regained boundaries. She leaned forward and stated bluntly that his remark was unjust, her voice quivering. With rest-trained strength, that hurt because it was deleting, not merely careless. "What are we meant to be?" she inquired. Different iterations of her, she reminded everyone that she had a unique nom, a unique attitude, and a unique past. She was not interested in imitating the essence of another woman. "That's fantastic if that's who you love," she added cautiously. "However, don't act as though you desired that for Theothus, since he didn't." As the host subtly questioned if love in such a complex relationship could ever be just different. The discussion descended into more profound area. Ito peered as though a secret truth was revealed by that lingering query. Thessalonians had realized, some gradually, others abruptly, that love breaks when isn't offered with purpose. It becomes warped rather than simply drifting apart. A woman's journey cannot be reflected in another's. It is impossible to clone or gift chemistry, that weird, uncontrollable fire. The man was taken back by the spark that ignited between him and the newest member of their group. It was too much for him. It pulled him into something more consuming, out of a sense of obligation. However, he used that emotion as a measuring point, rather than retaining it with silent appreciation. The others who had already demonstrated their worth through perseverance and sacrifice, were now expected to meet an unachievable that they had not agreed to. As air salt, the others sank into the gloom of comparison while he glowed in the light of fresh passion. A private anguish was conveyed by the woman who, after decades of estrangement, finally found the fortitude to leave, and who formerly thought her silence was loyalty. She claimed that he treated her like an echo for more than half of their time together. She felt an honest, not only forgotten, boutique nerd. "You never really saw me," she remarked bluntly, glancing at Hierogzarner. "Not who I really am," and a tree to earn something that should have been mine for years. Many people who had followed their voyage felt moved by Thatman in the days and weeks after they were cast. It was uncomfortably familiar, not because it was startling, To many had seen a woman try to win back a heart that had long since chosen a different home by bending herself in every way. The drama of imbalanced love, not the only thing that keeps this tree fresh. It's the silent courage to not be a copy. Choosing authenticity over acceptance is a strength. This was not a jealousy story, at least not in the conventional sense. It wasn't even a tally of treachery. It was an awakening story of a lady and others like her, understanding that letting go of someone new only wants you in bits can occasionally be the most meaningful gesture of love. Therefore, she didn't leave with resentment. When she did, it was clear. She didn't have to change who she was. She didn't have to fight for what ought to have been unrestricted atin. She didn't have to quiet herself to give room to another person's story. "I am not her," she declared with an apology as she stood erect, alone yet unflappable. "I will never bend. My strength is that." Viewers of family-focused reality series were left with questions that permeated every moment of the reunion as the sun set behind the emotional horizon of the Mostricent season. A meeting intended to provide answers took the place of the heartbreaking farewell to a beloved son, which marked the end of another intensely emotional chapter. However, what fans got was something more intense. tension, revelation, and admissions that revealed unhealed wounds and changed the boundaries of familial commitment. The main character of this broken story once again found himself under the limelight. As what had long simmered in the background came to the top, anxious to deflect, eager to justify, and frantic to control a story that was quickly slipping from his grasp. The patriarch of the family, Ho is known for his drawn-out explanations and outraged speeches, came into this reunion with familiar vigor. Many were taken aback by this season's postscript, which is sometimes called the emotional autopsy of the family's year. For once, the calm and shrewd moderator was allowed to delve deeper and go beyond the meticulously prepared surface responses. There was a noticeable change for the man who once had the emotional loyalty of 4 women. The experience became a trial by fire rather than a chance for protection. The man erupted in protective rage when he was asked about the obvious imbalance. In Hishit, he objected to the charge of prejudice, comparing romantic imbalance to the inherent variation in friendships, childbearing partnerships. Using the pretext of divine connection, he exalted one of his friends over the others before collapsing under the weight of his own inconsistencies. He shouted words, sharp with defiance, clearly frustrated, declaring that he was tired of being judged for his sincere love for the one woman whom he said offered him calm. However, 'twas the faces of people who had stood by him that made an impression, not just his words. They sat with their hearts open and their arms uncrossed, having once been united by sacrifice and a common belief. A woman who had dedicated decades of her life to this common goal stood up among them. Her voice was clear, but her face was unreadable. She never consented to a nearer contest, and she had no intention of competing. She said, "I am not her." With worn-out dignity rather than rage, "I don't wish to become someone else just to be seen." There was no poison in her words. Rather, they were filled with finality, the distinct voice of a woman who had lamented the loss of a love that never came back. It was acceptance, not imitation, that she had sought. In its place, she was given justifications for neglect. She had lived as if invisible for over half of their time together. This confession was made with the clarity that only comes with overcoming emotional exile, not with resentment. The notion that they were ever invited into a higher experience was quickly rejected by another woman who had endured years of shifting emotional footing. "It would have been kind of him to say that then, not now," she added, suggesting that his alteration was only an effort to whitewash a history of selective devotion. Her remark revealed a serious crack that could not be filled with words said too late. A third woman, renowned for her tenderness, but formerly ferocious devotion, entered the discussion with introspection rather than bitterness. She made the painful admission that her entire world used to revolve around him. Her voice carried the shudder of someone who had come to terms with the fact that a man who did not share her commitment had stolen her identity, even when he wasn't there. Cher called making plans for him and modifying her reality to suit him. The notion that her life would pause in anticipation of his arrival was more painful than his absence. Now, she exposed it for what it was, masquerading as sacrifice, not love. She'd admitted how incredibly annoying that life had been. Her eyes no longer looking for his approval. She had turned her attention from him to herself, her kids, and the tranquility she had never had while she waited for him. These revelations were interwoven strands of a larger, unraveling, rather than distinct events, once inched in a narrative of mutual respect and purpose. Each woman saw their positions as the chapters of a novel that was ultimately written by the emotional contradictions of one guy. And the worst of all the truths, he'd never really seen them. The reunion provided fans with more than just drama. It provided a mirror. It raised issues of justice, love, and individuality. Is it possible for someone to act in a way that contradicts their claims to love multiple people equally? When only one person is in charge of the screenplay, can a shared dream endure? The feeling of suspense as the show came to an end came from what had finally been left behind, not from what would happen in its next portion. The illusions were broken. Once unshakable devotion had transformed into agonizing clarity, and each lady came out with a stronger voice than before. No longer echoing Summy and Nils's ideal, but creators of their own truth, even though their family may no longer exist in the way that Ansi attracted admirers. Thank you for watching. And that wraps up today's emotional journey through the lives of the sister wives. What are your thoughts on Kody's revelation and the strength these women are now showing? Let us know in the comments below. We read every one of them. If you haven't already, subscribe to the Daily Sister Wives for more heartfelt breakdowns, daily news, and fan discussions. Like this video if you appreciated the raw truth shared today. Share it with other fans who need to see the reality behind the scenes. We'll be back tomorrow with more from the world of sister wives. Until then, stay strong, stay informed. And as always, stay uniquely you. Thanks for watching the Daily Sister Wives.